Hey y'all, I'm tired. I'm driving back from Oklahoma to Texas, and been a very busy weekend. But I figured what better way to stay awake than to talk with y'all. So I have in this phone I'm holding literally 24, maybe even 30 different one-line notes of I call them my show notes, things that I would like to talk about. One thing that's not in there that just occurred to me is what I would do if I hit the lottery. Y'all may find this interesting, you may not. I can't believe you play the lottery, T. I don't, not very often anyway. I'd be lying if I did not say that sometimes when a Powerball jackpot's like 500 million, I throw $2 at it. I know we're not supposed to, but I do occasionally, but not regularly, not every day. Certainly not multiple times a day like some people do. So there's my caveat there. But yeah, I play the Powerball and the Mega Millions occasionally. Get a ticket maybe once every, on average here lately, once every 6 or 8 weeks. A while ago, it was much more than that. Anyway, I'm justifying. Suffice it to say, I buy lotto tickets from time to time. Okay, what would I do if I hit, right? Let's say it was like one of those gigantic Mega Millions jackpots, it's $1 billion, right? Man. Well, number one, the government's going to get half of it, so you're down to 500 million. I would tithe 10% of that. I don't have a church at the moment, so I guess I'd have to cut Pastor Joe a check for 50 million. We'll probably want to make sure we had like paramedics on standby or something, because I would not want him to, have heart palpitations or whatever. But that'd be fun. There's several different groups that I'm loosely affiliated with as well that I would drop them some checks for the work that they do as well. Because it'd be fun to just hand out, hey, here's a check for $1 million. Why? Because y'all are awesome. That's why. Keep doing good work, Operation Underground Rescue is one of them. That's just, if you don't know what Operation Underground Rescue is, Google them. But it's a group of people, including ex-Special Forces personnel, that go around the world to recover children that are actively involved in illegal sex trading. They're sex slaves, children that are sex slaves, that were either abducted or born into the sex slave trade. And so these guys go and kick their doors in and get them back and make arrests of the people that are perpetuating this. So I'm a big fan of the work that they do. And there's several others, right? I'm not going to go there, but I'd probably be out $100 million day one writing checks to people who I think are cool and who I think do God's work. That would be a lot of fun. The next thing I would do is called Darrell Mixon in Poto, Oklahoma at Mixon Realty. And I would say, hey, I need you to find me a ranch. I need a gigantic piece of land. Gigantic piece of land. Like 10,000, 12,000, 20,000 acres. And, in that neck of the woods, let's say you bought 10,000 acres, would probably be at most $10 million. So, let's say I bought 10,000 acres, right? Well, you got land. What's next? Well, now you got to go to the John Deere dealership or the Caterpillar dealership. I'm not a John Deere fan. That's a story for another time. But suffice it to say that they were knowingly involved in a lot of horse pucky and total Bravo Sierra with your tax dollars after the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, ARRA, was passed by Obama. They knowingly overcharged the government. I can prove it. I'll tell you about it some other time. So it's not slander if I can prove it, is it? Anyway, I don't like John Deere, but I do like Caterpillar. So I go to Caterpillar and plunk down with my checkbook and leave there with probably a Cat D6 high track dozer and a 950K front end loader and probably a 334 track hoe, a little skid steer 420B backhoe, a couple other odds and ends here and there, just enough to get started with, and probably a Caterpillar Challenger as well. Those things that's a badass piece of machinery. But to get all that trucked, I guess we'd have to buy a couple Peterbilts and lowboys too, or maybe a Kenworth, whatever. Probably, you know what? Scratch that. Western Star, twin turbo, 600 horse Detroit diesel, 21 forward gears, a couple of lowboys. Get all of our equipment hauled out onto the property. Start pushing in a road. Oh, we'd probably also have to hit the steel dealership and buy, I don't know, dozen chainsaws and all the chainsaw gear, right? Call up all my brothers and sisters in arms and all my Hebrew friends and get some of those Cabela's Outfitters tents or some military surplus HQ tents or whatever. Get some tents, build a tent city for a hot minute, and push the roads in, cut some timber. Well, I guess we need a sawmill as well. If you're gonna cut timber, you might as well turn it into boards and firewood. So we get that going. All that's to say, now we got roads. Loose roads, but roads. We get a couple concrete trucks and a portable batch plant, like an Erie Strayer, something like that. Portable batch plant, tow that sucker in there and start bringing in, well, I guess we'll buy some dump trucks too, and start bringing in sand and gravel and cement. We'll have to drill a well. We'll have to drill lots of wells. So we'll drill a well because we need that for the batch plant to make to get water to make concrete, and we're probably all going to get thirsty too. So start drilling wells. Maybe we just buy a well drilling truck. Maybe we just buy the well drilling company. Yeah, that's easier. We'll buy the well drilling company, and then when we need them, we can bring them out to do what we're doing, and then they can just stay busy doing what they were doing before we bought them. That's a good plan. I like that. So now we got a batch plant. All right, so now we can start making real roads. Okay? We need real roads because we're going to bring some real equipment in here shortly. Stand by. Get some real roads in. We're going to build a town square. Businesses on the town square. Because, usually when you live out in the middle of nowhere, you can't get a pizza. Maybe I want a pizza. Or you're going to get a chocolate malt after the Friday night football game or whatever. We're going to build a bar. We're going to call this bar the Filthy Animal. If you can tell me what that's in reference to in the comments, I'll send you a free t-shirt. I don't have t-shirts yet, but I'll get one just to send to you. So I have a bar called the Filthy Animal. It'll be the only bar I know of that'll be closed on Saturday nights. And I didn't think about that, but I guess that's a conflict of interest, right? So we'll build the bar, build the town square, all that. And then we're going to start setting up 5-acre mini homesteads around the town square. Not right on top of the town square, but around the town square. 5-acre mini homesteads. And everybody's going to get a house and a barn. And everybody's going to get a little bit of livestock and a little bit of a garden. And we'll have a community greenhouse and community garden as well. I've always liked the idea of that. Right? So basically we'll start like a co-op. Now, you guys know me, I like capitalism. I'm not big on communism or socialism, but many hands make light work. So we have a community greenhouse and, plant some crops. And then outside of those 5-acre micro homesteads would be like 15 to 50 acre homesteads. And we can encourage through community, networking and support, mutual assistance, you might even call it, a group that mutually assists one another, kind of like a mag, or a tribe. Hey, Bill, you grow potatoes, I'm gonna grow some corn. Julie, you're in charge of the black-eyed peas, and Sue, we're gonna need you to grow all the broccoli, and yada yada yada, get all that squared away, right? A little beef, some chicken, we're gonna need sheep, so some sheep, some goats, right? Get all that going. Okay. I have a bakery, and you might want a bagel. Coffee shop for sure. I need a coffee shop. Little school, right? Get all the things. We're gonna get all the things. We're gonna build all the things, right? You get 200 people to move there. If you get 200 people to move there, you can petition the state to become your own city, or township at the very least. If you get a township, then you can have a police force. And if you get a police force, you got a police chief who can deputize people. And if you're deputized, it's no big deal if I have to hand you a 240 Bravo that the police station owns in case the world ever ends. See where I'm going here with this? So, maybe we'll build a wall, a beautiful, magnificent wall. We'll make other people pay for it, and it'll be all the way around our property, and nobody can come in. Maybe we won't. But we'll at least have, security, a dedicated security force. One of the things I'd like to do is, we'll drill, I don't know how many, 5 to 10 deep wells, 2,000, 3,000 foot deep wells, right? And have that as part of the community water supply, as well as have a couple wells on each individual property, because redundancy is king. I would put up, depending on the land and the budget, anywhere between a half dozen and several dozen wind turbines that, when done properly, in conjunction with small solar at each individual home, would supply the entire city with renewable electricity. And we would have a power purchase agreement with OG&E, Oklahoma Gas and Electric, to sell our excess power back into the grid. That money would be used to fund the town maintenance department or whatever, water department, and the town itself would have very limited government, and all the funds for the town would come from an endowment of, say, $100 million endowed to the town. And as the founding charter of the township, you will not ever touch the principal. $100 million in cash sitting somewhere. And it'll be earning, say it earns 1%. It's $1 million a year. You can't run a community in the wilderness on $1 million a year where nobody has a house payment, nobody has a water payment, nobody has an electricity bill, most of your groceries are paid for. You can't run $1 million, if $1 million a year doesn't get it done, by that point, you're doing something wrong, right? Now, obviously, there's 1,000 things that could go wrong here, and there's 1,000 little nuances that would need to be massaged. But I think it would be fun, and I think it would be fun to go to people who are like-minded, people who you could be of an accord with, and say, you know what, you're a mechanic, and I know you love the Father, and you're a strong believer, and you're into preparedness. Why don't I move you out onto this property with us, where you have a captive audience, right, in community, And I want you to be the mechanic for our group, right? And butcher and baker and candlestick maker and, gardener and rancher and logger and tree guy and, equipment operator and plumber and electrician and framer and caretaker and teacher and, veterinarian and doctor and nurse and whatever, right? And have an intentional community that was really intentional. And we need a church, or we at least need a place to gather and worship. Call it what you want to call it, a temple or whatever. But we would need a place of worship. I'd like to have a pavilion in the center of town where Friday nights people can walk around and, drink beer in a solo cup, or drink wine in a solo cup, or not drink anything at all in a solo cup, and walk around and maybe have a little farmer's market action, a little stage, and some guy playing an acoustic guitar singing, or whatever. Somebody telling bad jokes so we can all throw rotten tomatoes at them. And this is like my one flight of fancy is this concept. I've thought about this concept for years. Literally years. At least 5 years. Entirely possible that it's been longer than that, but at least 5 years I've thought about this. And every now and then, especially when I have long drives, I sit back and I think about, how would I refine this system? How would I do this differently? What if this didn't work? Yada, 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 right? But it's all, the money is nice. The infrastructure is great, but it's really all people, right? You just got to find the right people, and just the rest falls into place. But I think it would be a blast. It's the one, like I said, the one flight of fancy I allow myself is to think about things like that, and what would I do, and how would I do it? What would the local government look like? I'm not a fan of government. I don't like anybody tell me what I can and can't do. The only person, and I say person in air quotes, the only authority that I would submit myself to and do my best to submit myself to is that of the Father. Everybody else can go pound sand. That's just honest. And at least my character is, if you're my commanding officer, or if you're my boss, or whatever, you better be at least as competent as I am, or I can't take you seriously, and then I lose it. So, Papa-san. So, I don't know, man. That's just, I've had that idea in my head for a long time, and I would love it one day if we had something like that. And here's the thing. If one day I end up on a piece of land with 5 families that are good families, good groups of people that all live close enough to come over for Sunday dinner or Saturday worship, I'll count that a blessing. With a heart so full that, I'd be overwhelmed. I would count that a blessing. Everything beyond that, it's just fun. Like, it's fun to think about. So, at least for me, it's fun. Local government, getting back to that. Yeah, we could have a mayor. 4 hours a week, part-time, unpaid position. Like I said, I kind of got a problem with authority. But we would have a duly elected mayor to run the daily operations of the town, and whatever. How much operating do you need to operate at that point? Is the road busted? Fix it. We need a swing set? Build it. You got a busted water pipe? Fix it. We don't need any bureaucracy. So I think it would be fun too to see what people came up with. I've got alpacas and I have them because of the fibers, and I spin the fibers and make yarns with them, and then I knit that and I make these sick alpaca sweaters. That's cool. We'd have our own militia brigade. Everybody's outfitted with, bright purple alpaca sweaters. And everybody would know, don't F with those guys. They might look fuzzy. They're not worth messing with, man. They're serious, It'd be a whole nother thing. I'd have several ranges and probably a kill house on property just cause. Practice kicking doors and practice shooting from 0 to 300, 300 to 600, 600 to 1,000, and beyond 1,000. Because it's fun, right? And you'd have a group of people like-minded of one accord that if there was an exterior threat to the community, let's say the S finally, HTF, right? It finally has gone down. Like, all right, this is what we've been preparing for. Everybody kid up, man your posts. Let's do this thing. And you have a group of well-trained, well-regulated militia. They're ready to roll. And I think the concept of militia goes hand in hand with the concept of an agrarian society, because you got to protect what you produce, right? And you got to be far enough out into the woods that you can, or the wherever, far enough out into the wilderness that you can actually produce stuff on scale, so you're going to be a rural agrarian society that's going to need some type of protection to protect the things that they produce. So I like the militant farmer concept. I really do like the militant farmer concept. It's something that it's another thought I've had for a long time, and I'm trying to refine that concept as well. But I think it'd just be kind of a blast. It could be a real good time. Another trooper. There's troopers everywhere today. Ain't even the end of the month. So, anyway, since there's so many troopers, I should probably get off of here. But, yeah, those are just some thoughts I've been kicking around. What would I do if I hit the lottery? I'd go to the Ford dealership, I'd buy a brand new truck. Probably put out a loadout for everybody. We'd build some bunkers, just cause, just to have some bunkers. It'd be fun. Park some deuce and a halves in there, or 5 tons, all wheel with bumper winches. It'd be fun. It'd be a blast, right? Oh no, there's an inbound nuclear missile. What do we do? Let's go hang out in the bunker. There's like 42 gallons of dandelion wine in there we put up a couple years ago. It ought to be good by now, We'll go hang out in the bunker until the threat passes. So, I don't know. I'm just talking crap now. I think it'd be fun. But really, like I said, I count what I've got a blessing, and then as the Father sees fit to grow that, I'll count that as a blessing as well. Anything beyond that is just kind of an exercise in mental gymnastics to think about the challenges and the issues, to war game those scenarios to the best of my ability in my head, because it keeps my head occupied so I don't fall asleep at the wheel when I'm driving great distances. So, and I want to name the town Apocalypse. I don't know why. It just seems like a great name. Where do you live? Apocalypse. Alright, y'all. This is a stupid post, 24 minutes long. Tell me what you think. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know. Comment. Please comment. I love it. And there's your retarded truck podcast for the day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.